Deschutes County voters are gearing up for the general election. Rhea Pinella joins us live from one of the drop box sites at Pine Nursery Park in Bend. Rhea?
Lee, today on National Voter Registration Day, I spoke with the Deschutes County clerk to hear how this year's voting trends have changed since the last general election in 2016. After a primary election like no other, Deschutes County is preparing for the general election coming up on November 3rd. Deschutes County Clerk Nancy Blankenship says since the last general election, Deschutes County has seen a sharp increase in voters.
In Deschutes County, we had about 100,000 voters in 2016, and right now we have about well over 147,000 voters.
Blankenship says even with a rising number of voters, another trend she's seen is a decrease in voter participation. She says in May of 2016, 24% of voters between the ages of 18 to 24 returned their ballots for the primary election. This year, she says the percentage of ballot returns in that same age group dropped to 19%. She says the rate of returned ballots at the other end of the spectrum also dropped. About 70% of voters aged 55 and older returned their ballots in 2016, whereas 65% returned their ballots this year. Blankenship says the COVID-19 pandemic may have been a contributing factor.
It was a very quiet season this last May. Had very few phone calls, very few personal interactions.
Blankenship says a voter who is no longer at their previous residence should update their mailing address online. Ballots will be mailed out October 14th. You can use ballot drop boxes like this one to send in your ballot. However, one thing to keep in mind before you do is make sure your signature matches the one on file with the county clerk's office, or else your ballot will not count. Ballots must be received by 8 p.m. on Election Day to be counted. The Deschutes County Clerk's Office recommends you send in your ballots by October 27th. You can either use a ballot drop box or simply mail them in. Live in Bend, Rhea Pinella, News Channel 21.
Tonight, we're asking if you voted in the primary election. To weigh in, head over to our web poll on the ktvz.com homepage. You can vote on previous polls on our polls page, which you'll find under the News tab.